The achievement gap involves a number of key questions for us. First question, how will we define and communicate high expectations for all students? And one of the things that we have found is that the issue of expectations is critical in how students achieve. We have found that, for example, we have higher expectations for some students. We expect them to successfully graduate and go on to university or secondary school. And for other students, we may very well have lower expectations for their future. It's important for us to address that. Students pick that up very, very quickly. Second question, how will we ensure high-quality instruction and is consistently delivered to all students? We know that there are differences in teacher expertise. We're going to have to address that and make sure that all students in all classrooms have the kinds of strategies and approaches to providing differentiated instruction, high-quality instruction to all learners in the classroom. Another key question is, how will we ensure that all students are effectively engaged academically, emotionally, and socially? It is not enough to look at their grades, their academic results. We need to look at how they can connect with the adults in the school who care about them, who understand the issues that they are going through, and who can address those. And of course, schools need to be a place where students can find a degree of enjoyment, forming good positive relationships with their peers, lots of activities to participate in, and of course, how will we ensure an inclusive, welcoming atmosphere in all schools? And that is critical. Given our diversity, every student, regardless of his or her background, needs to go into a school every day and feel that this school is for them, about them, of them, in the same way that it is for every other student. And that's critically important. Those critical questions form the basis of the conversations that we need to have with our peers as educators and with others. And related to that are the questions that we need to ask when we look into the mirror as opposed to out the window. When we look in the mirror, the conversations need to come down to these three among many. What is our personal commitment to the success of every student in our school? Do we see the success of every student intimately involved with our own success? Are we prepared to evaluate our own personal efforts in terms of the success of each and every student? Are we prepared to challenge our own assumptions about people, which determine our individual and collective actions? And that makes the case that we do have assumptions about people that we bring to our profession. And are we prepared to recognize and remove the systemic barriers that we erect for those who are less advantaged because of our positions of power and privilege? And we have to recognize that our positions of power and privilege bring certain actions on our part as educators that do not always work in the interests of everyone else. The systemic barriers, and these are just a few that exist for students from migrant communities, lower expectations, as I mentioned before, attitudes which sustain discrimination, such as racism, sexism, homophobia, classism, discrimination against people with disability, curriculum that does not reflect diversity. Every student needs to feel that what is taught and how it's taught includes them at the center of the instructional program, not at the margin. And all the way down to unequal parent access to school information and involvement. Involvement of parents is critical to student success. They need to be effectively engaged with teachers, but they also need to be engaged with the school as an institution in contributing to decisions that are effective for all students. The Director of Education has unveiled an approach that he has called a vision of hope. Without generating a sense of hope among students, we can't move forward, and therefore it's important for that to be the central overriding context for what we do in our classrooms and schools. Every school, the vision is to make every school an effective school in terms of the overall program to produce student success. Full-service schools, which acknowledges the fact that schools need to be places which partners with community agencies and groups to provide for the total needs of all children, the emotional needs, health needs, physical needs, so that the school is, in fact, the heart of the community. Building instructional capacity, as I said before, is critical. One of the strategies would be to take the best teachers and provide a way for those best teachers to instruct other teachers through what we call demonstration classes or classrooms. The education strategy for boys recognizes that boys, cutting across all cultural and racial groups, learn in different ways that are different from girls, and we need to take recognition from that. And all our data shows that girls are outperforming boys in just about every area, and we need to address that. Safe and caring schools with the emphasis on caring. Schools need to be places where students feel an emotional attachment to all the adults there who care about them. Parent education programs need to ensure that all parents have the opportunity to learn about schools, but also to develop skills for effective parenting on the assumption that education takes place not only in the classroom, but also in the home. And we need to recognize the role of parents in being educators outside of school. And the Vision of Hope strategy involves us hearing from parents how satisfied they are about what we do, and we're developing for the first time a parent satisfaction survey which parents will complete and send back to us to give us their feedback on what we do. And so the 5 keys, just to sum up this presentation, the 5 keys to integration, as I think we understand it, involves committing ourselves to a vision of equity and inclusion, training all staff, teachers and support staff, to build awareness and expertise so they can do the jobs that they are assigned to do. We need to use information about our students for planning and decisions, and I gave you an earlier example of that. All stakeholders need to be involved in the change process. It's not going to happen only by teachers and by school principals and administrators, but students, parents, community members have to be involved in changing schools to a place where everyone can be successful. And, of course, our leadership needs to be oriented towards change. It is very easy for leaders to orient themselves towards maintaining the status quo. We have to change that orientation, where leaders see themselves as people who would transform their environments into ones that are successful for all students. So finally, the lessons that we have learned from this experience is that it is important to use student data for planning and decision-making. In other words, what we know about our students, how they feel about what we do, and how we can link who they are with their academic results and their social results, so we can be more precise in the planning that we do and in the decisions that we make. Caring and culturally sensitive schools inspire students and build public trust. And that is a truism that we have long recognized, that if students feel that our schools care about them, that they're culturally sensitive to their backgrounds, that they will be inspired to learn. And our diverse public will trust our schools to do the job that we are assigned to do. Developing leadership for diversity is necessary for creating inclusive schools. We have to train our leaders to recognize barriers that exist, to recognize their own prejudices, the assumptions they make, in order for them to be effective leaders for change. Distributing resources equitably across schools builds capacity to help the students who need the most help. And finally, collaboration between governments, the school district, and communities leads to successful schools and healthy communities. As I said earlier, schools can't do this alone. The challenge of community building means that governments, schools and school districts, and community groups, community organizations need to work together in order to build successful schools and in order to develop healthy communities. So I thank you for this. I believe that's the last, of my slides, and I look forward to questions later on.